And away we go. Hope everyone can hear me. Hello, hello. Hope you're hearing the music. Am I hearing the music? Away we go. Okay. I can hear me. I didn't realize to be quiet for that long. Oh my gosh. Almost done with the music there. Oh boy. What a day for movie news and life and everything. And hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. Hello, Sinram, Zodberg, K-Master, Cornbread, Ramsey the Artist, Nathaniel Foga, Jordan Salafalo, Purple Goop, Run Ham, Rum Ham. I feel like Austin was up there somewhere. Anyway, hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. This is going to be... I'm good. Are you good? I hope I'm good. Anyway, hello. This is going to... Let's move this mic. Is it going to be in the way? How far can we go before it's in the shot? Oh, it's pretty far. Okay. First, we're going to slide over. Hello. I'm in the kitchen because I think this one will go late, and I wanted to have the time. I wanted to have the time to do that if need be. So that's why we're doing. But there's a lot to talk about. This is probably one of the craziest movie news drop days I've seen potentially ever. It was pretty intense. Whatever script I had before a lot of the stuff really went out the window, so I feel like there's probably going to be a random story in there or a story I forget. I apologize. Kind of film history fucking happened today, so it's like, what the fuck? Anyway, sorry, Austin said, I was promised that SpongeBob on the thumbnail. To be clear, I never said that. To be 100 on that one. I never said that. But, here is the, wait, where's my, sorry, I'm looking at the, okay, here is the energy drink for tonight, Ghost Blueberry Sour Patch. I don't think I've done the other one. Sorry, I'm not that into Ghost. It's more just that it's it's just, there's a fridge near where I buy my groceries. Oh, thank you, Dylan Butler, for liking my Mr. Bug Goes to Town video. I appreciate that. Hello, Javier Portello. All right, I'm going to drink some of this. It is a little hot in here, so you might be seeing me try to cool myself down a bit. It's been a crazy day. It's been a wild day, but I made dinner. Hello, Taco Formaster. Got a kid bathe, all that stuff, and now we're doing the fucking show. This is wild. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Thank you for the super chat. I was like, we got to do this tonight. We got to talk about what happened to the Alamo Drafthouse. There's just like, wow. But before we get to that, let's do a little bit of, did Nathaniel called it that I was making dinner? I'm assuming that's what it was. He was like, I bet he is. That motherfucker. I bet he's going to make dinner. That would be weird if that's the case. I like that. All right. So, not like a ton, I guess some stuff this week. Me and the kids saw Garfield. I know I posted about that on Instagram. That was fun. It was first big movie. Where are we? Okay, sorry. First big movie for like my son and stuff. So that was like big kid movie in a real theater. So it was Hey Gary. So that was kind of a big deal, and he did well. He just called it a big TV. So I think it goes well as long as it's a kid movie, but also the reclining chairs that the theater we go to, I think really helps, and popcorn, obviously. And that was amazing. There'll be a Garfield review, I think, later this week. Next tomorrow is going to be X-Men 97 season 1. Then no more X-Men videos for a bit. I think we're done. Till season 2. Oh, I'm sorry, Cornbread. I apologize. You did guess it correctly. So I will give you a cheers to you, Cornbread. Cheers to you. Apologies. Why did it have to be Garfield? Because I did want to see Garfield, and I thought, hello, Steve Meister. And I thought it'd be fun to take them. And I feel weird seeing movies that are aimed at kids without them. Just feels like a shitty, like, would you want to hear your kid, would you be, like, oh, Dad, I want to see that, and go, oh, no, man, I gotta make content. Sorry, I saw it without you. Like, that sounds like bullshit. So that was kind of, like, I wanted to see it for Mark Dindal, and I was curious about it, but I was like, I should take the kids. So that's almost why. And Inside Out 2 came out later, which I think we're all going to see, for Father's Day and stuff like that. Trying to think what else. Sorry, I'm kind of going through because I feel intimidated about everything, but I like to do the talking before. My daughter was on recess therapy. I think she did an amazing job with Jonathan Groff. That little quote that's been made into a short TikTok, Reels, whatever, is kind of amazing. I'm very proud of her with that. And it was an amazing experience for her. You know, I do think the cast of Frozen is similar to how I would view, when I was a kid, how I would view the Star Wars cast, I think, almost to a certain degree. But it was a great experience. She loved it, and I thought she did a good job, and I'm proud of her. But you should watch it. It's in the community tab and all that. Let me try to think. A bunch of cool stuff came out this week for me. I guess some re-release things. Godzilla Around came out in short form, and obviously I put out, I think I had a good run, like something like 8 videos in a row. And last night I couldn't, the internet was spotty, and I was getting tired, and I was like, I'm not going to finish 97 season 1, and I don't know if I can even upload it. So it's like, fuck this. So tomorrow, but there's a bunch of stuff. What was it? California Love Furiosa, and the Martin Lawrence thing, which that was cool because maybe, I don't know if you guys want to hear a Jim story at this point. Maybe Martin Lawrence, I didn't do Will Smith because I was like, it's going to have to be multiple videos, and I was like, I'm not sure if people are super into me talking about him presently. I wasn't sure, and that's a lot to commit to with someone who you're not sure about. But I was also like, Martin Lawrence, when the show Martin premiered, was like a big deal when I went to elementary school. And I think because they did this special for like a week or maybe 2 weeks, where they played Martin episodes at like 5 o'clock, and everyone at my school was into Martin. Like, everybody knew Shanae, everybody knew it was like the hugest thing in the world. And I used to think from then on that like the two big sitcoms were like Martin and Seinfeld. To me, they were on the same level. And it wasn't until I got to college and I said that, and everybody, that video would have, I just got what you did, Ryan. That video would have slapped. God damn it. Fucking Ryan. It's a good joke though, sorry. But in college, and people were like, no, Martin was not as big as Seinfeld. What are you talking about? So, you know, that was eye-opening, but to me, from like 92 or something, I forget when, in elementary school. And sometimes networks would do that. They'd like to really push a show. They'd be like at 5 o'clock every day. I remember they did it with Arrested Development in New York. They actually played it at like midnight for like a week or a couple weeks. And that helped everyone. That kind of helped the rise of the show. In New York, at least, it was like on Fox. It was like at midnight, Arrested Development, every night for a couple weeks. And it was cool. But anyway, I always felt like Martin's filmography, not great. Let's be real. So I always sort of wanted to do... I was like, this is probably my only time to do anything with Martin Lawrence. So I was like, let's just do it. So it was part of like sometimes I pick people because I'm like, this is my only chance to do this person, whereas Will Smith will be in another movie and everyone likes him again. We'll talk about that later. So I will get another chance. Whereas Martin Lawrence, this might be, health-wise also, my last chance. So anyway, Zane Powers, so no James Corden was almost serious. I mean, maybe it would be James Corden is almost tolerable. And the answer is no. Although, okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it, first off, cheers to you, Zane Powers. I will say this. Gavin and Stacey rules. Amazing show, but everything else he's done, particularly recently, is fucking horrible. Sorry, I just want to tell that Martin story. The other things are the compilation thing I do with George Martin. That seemed to go over really well. It seemed like everybody liked it, view-wise and so forth. I might just do a compilation a month, and then maybe a few more if I'm like gone, like on a vacation or something. So it's kind of nice, sort of filler, but not. The older ones, I don't think I didn't save in the best way. I didn't know what I was doing. So if there's a several part one that comes out post George Miller, they will be like one long thing. If it is before that, it'll probably be, you'll have the part one, part two nonsense in there, unfortunately. But I think the next one will probably just put the Spielbergs together. But I think it'll say part one, whatever, it'll be in the right parts. And I'll probably do other compilations, but maybe just one a month. I don't want to overdo it. But if I might just make a few just as safety, like if I get really sick for a little bit or something like that, there could still be stuff and the channel can flow and views and all those things. So it's nice. I seem like people liked it and no one was upset. I did a premiere. I don't know if I'll do that every time, but I do like talking to the chat and stuff. It's nicer than when you just put out a thing and it's like I just threw it on the slop of content. There you go. Wish. Whereas like if you post, if you talk to people, it's like, oh cool, I made a thing and now I'm talking to my buds and I enjoy that. I might sound silly. Sorry. Okay. I'll just talk about the throwbacks and then we'll get into it. I can't think of anything else that crazy happened. Sophie and I are watching My Adventures with Superman. I need to do a quick reaction thing. That seems to be perfect for kids. I really gotta say that is like the perfect Superman for kids because they solve everything by the end of the episode. It's very innocent. It's very positive. I think that I fucking love that show. That and Problem Solvers. Oh my god. Smiling Friends. Like Adult Swim is actually some of the best I've seen in years with those two. I'm not watching. I don't have cable anymore, but anyway. So the throwbacks, I had Track of the Cat on Monday. That is, if you are into film, and this is in all seriousness, if you're into movies and lighting and color theory, great movie to, I don't know how available it is. Track it down though. Basically it's William Wellman, who I did like some 70 some videos of his movies before I started with Pizza Party. I was like a classic film person as well as a new movie person. I'm like one of the most William Wellman people around, I think. Anyway, so that was from that era a long time ago. But he learned that like obviously black and white films were lit differently than color films, and he thought it'd be interesting to shoot a black and white film. Hello, Nanbox 64. A color film with black and white lighting and have certain things pop and stuff like that. So it's if you're into filmmaking and into color theory, I recommend it. I don't think it's an amazing movie, but I still think about it a lot, and I think about it with other things and choices with that. So if you are into that stuff, I do highly recommend it. The other one I mean, I don't hate Problem Solvers. I think Problem Solvers is cool. I think everybody, when I like weird cartoons. If you watch my cartoon, it looks like crap. Of course I like the crappy fucking cartoon. Friday, it's going to be my review of The Lion King, the 1984 film, since that's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, or today or tomorrow or something like that. And then Saturday, I have an extra throwback. I made a video. Movie Crap basically started as just a video of news nonsense. Sorry, I hope this is funny or interesting. And then kind of took a break, and then before it became a live stream show, it was just I'd pick an issue and just make a video about it. And one was about how the summer movie season is disrupted by the World Cup. It's mainly about the 2018 summer, but if you're interested in that sort of thing, it'll be there. It won't be posted that many places, to be honest with you. I just was like, people forget it, and it's one of the few videos on my channel not edited by me too. So it's kind of a weird, forgotten era. I like to pick and choose different kinds of videos I've made over the years. So I thought that one was cool. If you'd like to, what's Propel? I haven't seen this. Okay, I will look for this Propel, and I will look around. Anyway, let's really get into it. Sorry. We have a lot to go through. This was a little weird of a day. So, this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, where I will drink this, where's my, as we say in the biz, my monitor, this awesome energy drink right here, or through my Patreon, which is linked below in the description. Both help me make stuff, publicize the channel, be able to replace equipment, pay bills, all sorts of amazing things like that. Sorry. And everything is fan funded, either through views or those things. If you're financially able to do so, of course. But if you do a super chat, I will drink it and cheers to your honor and list off your name at the end and all those wonderful things. And it helps me continue to make stuff, which is always amazing. If you're financially able to do so. If not, just give a like to this video, is always appreciated, or subscribe. You get all the throwbacks I'm talking about, as well as updates when I have new stuff and everything. And help support the show, this show, and everything I do, as well as just watching is cool as well. And you get, postcards, which I sent out recently. You get the movie review vote winners video. You get my commentary series. You get the emails when I have a new video up. You get all sorts of cool stuff on the Patreon as well. Of course, if you're financially able to do so, I very much appreciate if you can do that. Also, there is the Discord, which is an amazing community. If you like everyone in the chat every week and you hear me talk about all these cool people, they're all on the Discord, or most of them. It's the only Discord I'm involved in. You get everything like licensed playing card channel. You get the general channel where I ask them about like what I'm going to talk about the show tonight. You get the Ask Jim channel where you can ask me questions and I will get around to answering them. You can do suggestions. There is a movie watch every week. I'm not sure, or TV watch. I'm not sure what they're doing. It's a great community. It's fucking wonderful. They're watching Tarzan. I'm assuming the Disney one, and all sorts of stuff like that. So sign up below if you would like to. You could be a part of it 24 hours a day. And Austin's Zane Powers do a great job. And Cornbread posts his thumbnail prediction in there also for the show. And also we have my Twitter, which I'm most active on, Tumblr, Instagram, personal, and Reels, TikTok, all those things, Facebook fan page, they're all linked in the description down below if you want to like those and help support all this stuff and find out about this stuff. Anyway, all right. So, I would have talked about like a jokey thing first, but I'm sorry, this is the biggest, this is an insane story. I mean, there's really nothing bigger in movie news than this. This is an insane story right here. So Sony Pictures, I want to be specific about that. Sony Pictures has bought Alamo Drafthouse. Oh, you watched The Road Warrior? Fucking awesome. Alamo Drafthouse has bought Sony Pictures. Sony Pictures has bought Alamo Drafthouse today. Under its new ownership, it will be managed by a new division of Sony Pictures called Sony Pictures Experiences. This is the first time since the 1940s, I believe it's like 1948 or something, since what was called the Paramount Decree, which, if you don't know what the Paramount Decree is, and to explain why this is a big deal, Congress or the U.S. government or however changed the film industry where studios used to own the theaters, so they own production and distribution. Now, the Paramount Decree was rescinded in 2020. Not much had been done since then, although everyone keeps saying, like, what if Disney buys AMC? No one at Disney said that, but it's cool that you need to, the weird scenario. Although Amazon talked to AMC or something, not much really had happened as much as people sort of wanted it to, because back in the day they would make majestic movie palaces because they knew they made 100%. They didn't need to do a cut with theaters, which is usually, in a very broad sense, about 50-50. But now they have Sony bought Alamo Drafthouse, which is the first kind of major thing with that. I guess Taylor Swift had her thing where she got AMC to distribute her movie, which was honestly the first part of anyone doing anything with the Paramount decree, really. And then Beyonce did the same deal. But this is a much bigger deal. This is the first thing. This is like how when people will say what happened with the Paramount decree, and how did it end, this is how it ended right here. This them rescinding, it took a few years, but it fucking happened. Sony bought a theater chain. And Sony Pictures, is sort of like this confusion, and I saw critics talking about that today, saying, well, Sony already owned a theater chain. Well, not really. Sony did, not Sony Pictures. They're very specific that this is Sony Pictures, and Sony didn't even own all of it. And in fact, they weren't the ones who bought it, really. TriStar bought it, and then it became Sony, and then it's like confusing, but basically nobody... Basically, Sony did not really fully own like this. This is an unprecedented deal. It is different from whatever that deal was before. I actually looked into it, and I had heard before they couldn't own beyond a certain percentage, so I don't... Anyway, but this is 100% Sony Pictures owns Alamo Drafthouse. I will talk about the other Drafthouse story today, but after this. But this is really insane. I'm worried because I think most people are like, oh, well, they'll make the theaters even nicer. They will, do all this amazing stuff. I think that is there. That is 100% there. They can do those things. But they can do a lot of things. One thing they could do, because essentially, like the split, the theatrical split in these, which are only, this is not AMC, this is not Regal. I believe the estimate was 36 theaters, 35 locations, which, not 1,000, you're not going to be number one at the box office for owning the theater chain, whatsoever. In fact, 35 theaters, if you just had a movie at 35 theaters, I think Wildcat at number 30. No, sorry. Escape from Germany is at 27 this week with 35 theaters, and that made $30,000. So I don't 100% know if it's exactly what you think it is. However, what you could potentially do, and what I could fully see Sony being able to take advantage of, is Alamo has a particular, or the idea of a particular kind of audience who likes, A24 or indie stuff, or theoretically, I actually think there are people who say that, but just see Spider-Man movies and stuff. But, which is fine, you can, just don't fake about it. But if you had an indie movie, like per se what Red Letter Media talked about in their video, how they talk about this movie Dinner in America. I don't know what the fuck that movie is, but they're talking about, like, what if you just let every multiplex for a week have that and gave it that window. Or they only play Madam Web in every theater, like Zane Powers is suggesting. I have thought that too, and I'll get to that in a minute. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Now, if you have a small theater, a small movie, and let's say if you were to release it at AMC and Regal in those 35 theaters, and let's say you make $1 million, you're only making $500,000. And if it's a small movie, that's sort of like, why did I distribute this? But making $1 million off of $1 million is a better situation. And you can hold that in theaters longer because you're like, oh, well, I made $1 million here and I can, let's say you overperform at 35 and you keep doing it and you can expand to 100 theaters, but have them be away from the Alamo Drafthouses. You could make a significant amount of money off of a small movie. Like this could, in a sense, work out for smaller films. Now, Sony isn't 100% known for that. I don't think that will happen necessarily, but you have that there with the market you have just purchased. You have that there, but at the same time, I don't fully know what will happen. No one really does. I do think, I don't think it'll just be Sony movies. Everyone keeps saying that, and the film industry is not in a great place. We've talked about that every time at the box office, and so I looked it up. Last year, Sony in theaters in 2023 had 27 movies in theaters. I think 4 or 5 were from 2022. So that's like a little over 20 movies. That is not enough to keep a theater full for a whole year. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. So, like, the film industry is just not set up to make, like, let's say they have 6 screens in an average Alamo Drafthouse. You'd have to have, in theory, this very theoretical, 6 movies, new movies at all times, which you also have to promote, spend the advertising dollars on, make sure they make money, and just at your 35 theaters. The film industry is just, you're asking them to increase their film production by at least 3 times, which they're not going to do, and spend 3 times the advertising, which they also aren't going to do. It's just not set up for that at all. Now, if, and I'm serious about it, it's like you own a Regal or something, or an AMC, maybe, but again, you'd have to show that you're making tons and tons of money off these kind of things. I don't think we're there yet. Could it happen? Sure, but a lot of things could. Could frogs fly? Maybe, yeah, but I don't. Yeah, to me, it's like, yes, it could, but we're just not set up for that at all. The whole film industry is not set up for that whatsoever. So that is like so far off at this point in a decade, and you're like, haha, what an idiot. I do think that could happen in a decade if Sony shows, like, let's say they do a small movie and, they just open it at Alamo and they make $10 million and they're like, oh, cool, we have $10 million now. I could see studios thinking differently, but they need a success story. And right now they've just started the story. They have not shown that it's success. Sinram says, I saw Dinner America last year, an indie comedy with Leah Thompson. Oh, character is acting like lunatics. I didn't love it. Okay. Good for Leah Thompson, though. I love her. Cheers to you, Sinram. I like Leah Thompson. I've always liked Leah Thompson. I mean, I think we all know her from Howard the Duck. So my favorite TMZ thing was TMZ came up to her and they're like, how are you doing, Leah? And she's like, kind of get away from me. She didn't say it, but she's like, I'm fine. And they're like, what are the chances there'll be a Howard the Duck 2? And she just stopped and started laughing. She's like, I don't think anytime soon. So cheers to her and cheers to Sinram. But I can see them doing exclusively an Alamo Drafthouse. Or do you want to see the first Bad Boys? Or do Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3 will be playing in Alamo Drafthouses? Isn't Bad Boys a Sony movie? I think maybe. I didn't look that up. Or with Spider-Verse or a Spider-Man movie. We just had Spider-Man Mondays. What if they're like in certain regions, like in New York, if they're like, no, AMC and all the others don't get Spider-Man Mondays. We only get Spider-Man Mondays in those regions. And they could 100% do that, and financially it would make a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens. But it's 35 theaters. This is not going to take over the entire industry yet. It is not a good sign. I do not believe in trickle-down economics. So, and the whole idea of the multiplex, by the way, when it was originally pitched was, well, we'll have a couple screens for the big stuff, but we'll always have a screen for the art house stuff. And you tell me at your local multiplex how true that has stayed. Because unlike, there are certain huge multiplexes in New York that is true, but I guarantee you, most multiplexes, it is not. So I don't know. I don't feel great about it. I feel worried at this point. They haven't made any decisions yet. They just bought it. It's good that Alamo still exists. It's not my favorite dine-in theater. Mine's Nighthawk. I think Alamo is very chain Like, it's like their food is like an Applebee's or something. It's just like not really my thing necessarily. But I can see them. But and I always kind of feel like they gear more towards like, oh, no talking, or very snooty and art house and stuff, and cult movie ish, but very 70s cult movie ish, which is not even like. Sometimes when I walk in there, I was like, even Mystery Science Theater mixes up with 80s and 2000s stuff more than they do. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting to see the decision Sony makes with this. I think it does not speak highly of Tim League and the ownership at Alamo Drafthouse that they're the first ones to fold. Now, I understand they were not in the greatest financial situation, and they were courting studios for a little bit, and nobody thought it would happen. If I were to pick a studio to do this, Sony would probably be the last one. So I don't feel great about it. I don't think Sony has the wherewithal to do it. And I could see them going like, when the gross, if they just need contractually to release something, they'll just put it in a fucking Alamo. There we go. We make all the money anyway. I could see them using it like that. But at the same time, what's going to happen if these studios buy theater chains, unless they triple or quadruple their business, which again is not going to happen at this point. I can see they're looking at like, hey, I get 50% of Dune 2 in my theaters, or I get 50% of Deadpool and Wolverine, or Despicable Me 4, or Inside Out. So I think they're probably looking at more, look at the piece of the pie and look at the money we can make off of the other studios, because I don't see the other studios abandoning Alamo Drafthouse because of this. But they could say, fuck this. Like, you guys suck. Like, I don't want to deal with you. So, but also, I could see Disney not wanting to piss off Sony, because Disney and Sony have to deal with each other for Spider-Man. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be weird. I don't think it's going to work out. In certain regards, I do think, though, and this is the scariest part, is I don't think tomorrow Disney or Amazon or Netflix or whomever everyone's worried about who's going to buy AMC or Regal or Cinemark or whatever are the big ones, right? I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. But if, let's say in a year, there's some story that Sony made so much more money off their fucking movies, it's going to be like what happened with Netflix in a sense, because people were saying, oh, it's going to be like the streaming service thing again. In a sense, yes, but they have to show a success with it. And they have to show this was their most profitable movie because of we own the theater. And right now that hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened because it's the first day and, nothing happened. But we'll see. We'll see what it changes about Alamo. I would like to see what it is in a year. I don't know. It's not. It's the beginning of something. Hey, it's the beginning of something, and we'll see what that something is. But be a little. I would say be cautious and be worried right now, and we'll see what happens. Maybe Sony will do a great job, and we'll be like, man, Alamo's fucking amazing now because they make 100% of the money. But we'll see. But it is not going to be like the 30s. Look at how many movies RKO put out when they owned the theaters, or Warner Brothers or whatever. It is drastically down from what it was. And a lot of those movies, if they made them like they do then, now, the public is not putting up with that. like they really put some, they're like, it's an hour long and we shot it in a room. I don't know. The dialogue's fun. Like that, the public's not going to pay for it. So just like, again, don't listen to that too much. It just, anyway. Bloxy Oxenwinkle said, hey, I got a job as the overnight baker at Dunkin'. Congrats on the employment. Cheers to you. I hope that is a good, I'm assuming that's not a joke. I'm assuming that's a real thing. It seems like it is a real thing. Okay, sorry. But congratulations. Hey, that's good. They make good donuts. So I did not get to participate in Free Donut Day. I regret that. Every year I get a free donut. And look what's happened to me, man. Life. Miss out on free donuts. Cheers to you, Black Sox, Michael. I hope you... Do you make Boston creams? Because that is my favorite. If I'm by your Dunkin', I will check out some... Do you make donuts? That's what I want to know. But cheers to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. I think that's everything. I just hope this gets Alamo closer to what it was in the late 2010s, where they had Birth Movies Death, they had the poster company, they had all the cool stuff. I don't want to be talking about Alamo as the formerly interesting company, which it's kind of been for a little bit. Oh, also, Sony owns Fantastic Fest, which is also bad, because that is sort of what launches a lot of cult movies. I think Hundreds of Beavers launched there. I think other stuff. So they could launch their own cult movies there. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sony does with that. So, yeah. All the IP that Alamo has, Sony now has. So anything they do, or did, Sony now owns. And that is... it doesn't make me feel... I don't feel good, to be honest with you. I think there is possibility of good, but it's Sony, and they make, like, they made Madame Web, so I don't know, you know? None of this feels good, so... Sorry, I'll stop talking about this. Alright, let's talk about the real story. I feel like I'll leave the Alamo Drafthouse. Sorry about that, Zodberg. So here's the real story. This is kind of the big one. Joey Chestnut of the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Competition that happens to Coney Island every year, and he's won so many years in a row, is barred from participating because he endorsed a different hot dog company. And obviously it's run by Nathan's, who has a monopoly on hot dog eating competitions on July 4th, which is bullshit. So, you know, I watch it every year. I mean, competition-wise, I think Joey Chestnut has had the mantle too long. He needs to retire anyway. And I'm glad he's supporting a hot dog, by the way, that he endorsed one that is not meat-based, is more plant-based, and I applaud Joey for doing that. But, I mean, let's just cancel America at this point. It's just like, what the fuck? How are we supposed to enjoy July 4th without Joey Chestnut eating tons of hot dogs and me looking at him disgusted? Like this, you know, I know he's doing a thing on Netflix in September, but like, September? Like, who eats hot dogs in September? That's just like wearing white after Labor Day. Like, it's just, anyway. I do watch it every year. This isn't a bit. This really happened. This was the funny story that was supposed to lead until I heard about movie theaters are changing forever. So that, blame Sony Pictures for that one. So the other thing, I don't know if you saw this tweet that said, so Taylor Swift will not appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. I think everyone's had a lot of fun at this expense. I posted Cletus the Fetus. I like everyone's response. I'm always surprised by maybe the nostalgia for that. I found the wording of it very interesting. Though it said Taylor Swift, which to me is like, but Dazzler could still appear. Although I don't get, like, I sort of get her being Dazzler, but I'm like, I actually think Florence Pugh would be a better Dazzler, if we're being real. But I don't know about, I don't know, you know, I just love the phrasing of it. It was so distinctive. It was like Taylor Swift will not appear. My only issue, the only tweet I didn't like was the Lionsgate Twitter posted Norm of the North will not be in Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm sorry, that is for the Norm of the North Twitter account. You do not fucking, what is that about? Why did Lionsgate post that instead of Norm of the North? Like, what, are you trying to take the Norm of the North narrative from the Twitter account? The Twitter account is amazing. Maybe they did. I didn't check, but I saw the Lionsgate one do, and that was a real failure of social media. I mean, it's just like, anyway. To me, it like doesn't really matter if Taylor Swift's in it. I don't know. She's gonna say a few lines and stuff like that. It's like, whatever. Oh, off topic, But Roger Craig Smith posted 2 of my seasoning samples I gave him in Hall of Stuff fans gave him at cons on his Instagram. Congratulations, Nathaniel. That's awesome. Cheers to you, sir. I'm glad you had a fun time at the con, by the way. Cheers to you. And your con visits. All right, so although I do agree with people getting upset at, like, the whole joke of Deadpool Wolverine is like, haha, they're gay and stuff. It's like, yeah, they are pushing that too far. I also think, like, I am more on the, and I said this last week, that I do think this is going to be a year that's dominated by animation, and I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to make more than the trio of Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, and Moana 2. I just don't see that happening. And I think, like, because it's like the one big kind of movie that's for the grown-ups, even though that's a little silly, if we're being honest, I think I think people take a lot of what it's doing seriously, but whatever. All right, so we got a major anncey thing, and this is another one of those holy shit things, particularly with the Cartoon Network trial. We had a lot of news from anncey. This is probably the most news I've seen from anncey in a while, but I think we'll lead with the 2 big things, which I'm sure you want me to talk about, which is, I'll start with regular show. Regular show, we learned, is coming back, and J.G. Quintel is involved. I love regular show, as you know. I think it is a great show. It's probably my favorite of the 2010s. But my feeling on this, and probably the others, is that I think Cartoon Network's biggest problem is what they had in the original 2010s, when they had Adventure Time and Regular Show came out in pretty quick succession. And then you had, all their originals. They never were able to really replicate that, and they don't emphasize originals as much. And I know in the 2010s they tried, like, Mighty Magiswords and all this other bullshit that nobody remembers at this point. But I don't know. I feel like J.G. Quintel, like, I was with him, like, I watched Regular Show all throughout, right before I had a kid. It ended, like, a month or so before my daughter was born. And then Close Enough happened. I thought, like, I'm going to get to evolve with this creator. And it's not so much the personal aspect of it, but it's also, like, it feels like, I don't know what this Regular Show reboot's going to be. We really don't know. It just has some characters and then he's involved. And I'm open to that to a certain point. But I'm also like, these creators should be making new things, and we shouldn't just constantly, like, it feels like Cartoon Network and or Warner Brothers and Viacom are just trying to rest on their laurels. And I think this is not good for new media. It's not good for old media whatsoever, because, like, the reason Adventure Time was cool because it was different and people wanted to watch it, and it was a new original thing. And I get Adventure Time at this point is considered like a legacy brand, like it's going to be around like Ninja Turtles or something. But at the same point, it's like it was a new original show. Like, let J.G. Quintel make an original show. Like, we had with everything with the Adventure Time movie today. Like, it sounds like that sounds cool that you got Patrick McHale coming back, that you've Rebecca coming back, that you have that you have Adam Muto coming back for this movie, which we don't even know if it's in theaters or not. I really hate that, because I made that mistake with the We Bare Bears. I'm like, is that big enough for theaters? And people are like, no, obviously it's a Cartoon Network. But there's no confirmation either way. And I'm a little like, just tell us, like, why is, I don't know, is it for, I mean, streaming movies, the business of that really doesn't work for those streaming companies. So I'm a little lost on what they think they're doing. And then they're doing, like, basically, like, they're treating Adventure Time like Viacom treats SpongeBob, where, like, they have, let's give Sandy Cheeks a movie, let's give Plankton a thing, let's give Patrick a thing. And in this, it's like, let's do Adventure Time side quests for Finn and Jake. Let's do, what was the other? It's like this BMO show for little kids that we have Fiona and Cake. Like, we have all this stuff, but, like, I just find it distressing that it's like we're relying on these brands so much with animation. We're not giving them everything like, I don't know, it's like something like Midnight Gospel was so original and different. Like, I really like that, but it feels like studios are not open to that whatsoever. And I do think like we're losing people from animation because they're just going to look at that as like, oh, this old brand is back again and stuff. And some of these things they announced today were cool, and I will definitely watch them. But like I do feel like I'm watching the same bullshit over and over again, and all of these studios are just not doing like anything with these creators who they have signed to their things. It's like, I don't know. I do see like, and I commented on a few things. It was like, I think Rebecca should do an original thing. I think Patrick McHale, after didn't he help write Pinocchio, like a huge movie, and he's doing fucking Adventure Time. He's not doing another like a different thing. Like Over the Garden Wall was really great, but like how come he can't make anything else? And it's like, as open as animation is, it does feel like, I have reviewed Digital Circus. It feels like they're if Adventure Time, I know people say this like, you know, oh, if Nirvana was a band now, they wouldn't be as big and stuff. But my thing is like, if Adventure Time was pitched now, it wouldn't get picked up. Like they would pick up Fanboy and Chum Chum over it because that's a reboot. I don't know. I'm disappointed ultimately by all this news, because I don't think any of these really stick out to me. Like the Gumball thing, the regular show thing, I think is odd. The Adventure Time movie, like, I will definitely see it. And of all the things, it sparks my interest. Of all the Adventure Time things, it sparks my interest the most. But like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, you know, I do feel like the Cartoon Network brand is just not expanding in such a way. And what's funny is, of the cartoons I hear the most about from them are new stuff like Smiling Friends and My Adventures with Superman. So like the fact that they are not developing more like cool, like the few things were like that Warner's announced that did sound interesting, like Creature Commandos, that looks cool to me, just the little I've seen of it. And the anime Lord of the Rings thing, which I did think looked different and cool, and like actually gets into the whole idea of got into the whole idea of what Lord of the Rings, you know, I grew up with the cartoons like The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, Ralph Bakshi, and even The Return of the King. And like they were all designed differently. So I was like, oh cool. Every Lord of the Rings cartoon should be designed differently. But I like the anime look of it. I think it looks really cool. I'm very excited for that. Like that's really what I want. Or even the Go-Go Mystery Machine, the Scooby-Doo series where Scooby and Shaggy go to Japan, that looks like a different original thing. But like going like, let's do regular show again, like it hasn't even fucking been that long, guys. Like it's like that ended like, what, my daughter's 7? Like, it's not even 10 years and we're getting another one. Like, I just find this to be, like, wild. Like, it's just, it's really disappointing. And I don't know. I will watch them, but I am getting sick of, like, everything was a show before the show. And it's like, I much like watching, like, Smiling Friends and that stuff. I think we need to do something more with that. So, I'm just sort of disappointed in their whole approach. It's like you have all these amazing creative people, and your use of them is, hey, an Adventure Time movie, and it's like I also think like, could we at least give it more time? Like, just like Jesus, I don't know. They did announce some new stuff, but like I agree about Lovey Dovey and Bad Karma, but it didn't really. Anyway. The other things, the day the Earth blew up, we got a little clip from it. Looks good. It's Pete Browngardt who did the Looney Tunes shorts. I have full faith in that. We still don't have a date, and every time I say that, someone's like, "You need to relax, man. You know, they'll do it." I'm like, "Yeah, but like, I know a date of like things in December. Like, is this coming out this year?" Anyway, we'll see, but it looked great. The Phineas and Ferb stuff I'm excited for. I know there's musical stuff and it takes place a year after. I feel like there was nothing really learned about that. The big thing was the season finale of Jellystone was a 2-part Cartoon Network crossover, as much as I just rallied on nostalgia and all this, I do think it's a little more interesting because you get the Hanna-Barbera stuff with the Cartoon Network stuff. With, they said that, characters from Kids Next Door, Samurai Jack, Boo from Foster's Home, the Baboon from Iron Weasel, Grim from Billy and Mandy, and much more. I just think it has to be better than the OKKO thing. That's my view on it ultimately. All right. And let's do two animation things, and we'll talk about the box office. We learned that Henry Selick and Neil Gaiman have announced they're going to be working on sort of what Henry Selick calls sort of a sequel to Coraline called The End of the Lane. Right? Yes. With them working together. They do not have a studio yet, although he's thinking Shadow Machine, even though he talked up Leica but won't work with them, so whatever. We'll see what happens with this. I mean, I liked Henry Selick's last movie. I feel like it didn't really stick around too long, but anything, Henry Selick's an amazing animator. I hope something happens with it, but it doesn't have a studio. But I mean, I don't know. It still sucks that his Pixar thing didn't happen. I don't know. But we'll talk about the guy who fucked that up later. We did get that Wallace and Gromit trailer that looks amazing. I'm very excited for that. And we show Wallace is the voice of the people, as they used him to cover up the King Charles, which I think was awesome. I'm excited for the Wallace and Gromit stuff. I'm excited to revisit those shorts again. And, I'm a little nervous because I don't think the Chicken Run sequel was as good as it could have been. And I do think, like I thought, wait, what did I think you're messing around about? No, I'm lost. The Henry Selick thing. That was only because there's been so much movie news that day. I was like, wait, please stop. Dear Lord. Yeah, I thought it was funny that they used Wallace for that. But, I am a little worried about them as well. Like, Aardman, again, like, if you get some original shit, it's getting fucking boring, dude. Anyway. So, the box office. Let's talk about what happened this weekend, because it's actually probably the first good news we got for movies, and good news for Will Smith, I guess. Bad Boys Ride or Die, because they did Bad Boys for Life as the third movie, so good for them. Opened at $56 million, which is a little bit over what they expected it to do, and the first kind of good news we've had this summer box office wise, which I think is going to start good news, because Inside Out 2 is going to make between 80 and 100 million, hopefully at least. And then we're going to see Despicable Me 4 and the Deadpool and the Wolverine and all that. I think this shows the thing about that whole another big movie story is sort of ending the whole thing with the slap of Will Smith, and the idea that the industry was so upset about that, like very upset. And it did seem to me that the public maybe wasn't, or at least the people there's a lot of people who will see every Will Smith movie, especially the big sequels. Like when I saw Men in Black 3, I saw a lot of people, this is obviously a while ago, taking their kids and being like, this is Will Smith, this means a lot to me, things like that. And I think he has that brand attached to him. But I do find it, the whole thing, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of just blatant racism when he did the slap, and when, like, obviously from someone like what was it, from like Judd Apatow was like, he could have killed Chris Rock, and even Jim Carrey's weird thing. I think there was a lot of dumb nonsense, and they were obviously upset he disrupted the Oscars. But I do think my main thing with Will Smith, and I know I haven't really actually even talked about the slap ever, but I do think, doesn't Martin Lawrence slap Will Smith, I think? is that I think Will Smith has a tendency to not challenge himself whatsoever. He's probably the only major movie star that doesn't work with auteurs whatsoever. Like, if you look at DiCaprio, he made it with Cameron, Spielberg, Scorsese. You look at Tom Cruise. First Mission Impossible is directed by Brian De Palma. He's worked with Spielberg countless times. He worked with both Ridley and Tony Scott. He very much was smart about the directors he picked. And Will Smith was always number one on the call sheet. He's always the selling point of the movie, number one, no contest, never supporting, never a bad guy, never really worked with auteurs, never, honestly, during his main reign, didn't really even work with black filmmakers, to be honest with you. Which I always found that odd, because people like Eddie Murphy and like any other black actor who's major either did, like Denzel, Wesley Snipes, Samuel L. Jackson, all did, and he didn't, and didn't get any criticism for it. And I think the public kind of instinctually knows that. They know you can rely on him for your summer blockbuster. He's not going to do anything weird. He's not going to do an art movie. Denzel will do Fences because Denzel is an actor. Will Smith is very good personality-wise, but I don't think he's the caliber of actor of all those people I listed, because he will never challenge himself. And like, he turned down Django because he won't challenge himself. If you hear his complaints rate, it almost sounds like because he wasn't the main focus of the story. And I maintain that, and I think this goes into that narrative. So, I continually, I wish he challenged himself more. I think has the personality to do it, but, I don't know. He did work with Michael Bay. Zodberg is right. Hold on. Zane Power says, why was the slap what Hollywood took a stand for? Because it was very easy to, and it was, various racial politics that they fell into very easily. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. He did work with auteurs, and he tried to work with Ang Lee. That didn't work out. I'd argue his Michael Mann thing was more with about the Ali thing than the Michael Mann thing. I wish he'd challenged himself more. I don't think he will. I think he learned his lesson. I think I don't know. I hope he does more interesting stuff, but I think from this it's like, hey, he was Will Smith the movie star again, and everyone accepted it. It's also weird, and I guess like that Bad Boys is a sequel to the highest grossing movie of 2020, but sort of by default. But it's weird that 2020 was long enough ago that someone could, Dune 1 and 2, that was obviously a package deal and all that. But like, this was like, oh, this movie's successful, now we got to make a sequel, and that's how long 2020 has been away that can happen. I know 4 years is like expected, but it feels weird that the COVID year a movie's getting a sequel from feels I guess M. Night, but that movie didn't exactly work out, did it? All right, other thing. Well, I mean, he worked with Barry Sonnenfeld, but that's not like, when I talk auteur, you mean name director, like how come he never worked with Spielberg? That always felt odd. Like, how come he never worked? It's like, anytime you get close to those projects, it would always not work out. And if you hear the reasons, it's usually he's not the name you're seeing the movie for, which is a lame reason. Okay, other things at the box office, The Watchers, which is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I didn't see that movie, but I heard mixed things about that. Other things he kept performing, and Sinram brought this up in the chat. Sorry I didn't acknowledge it earlier. The Kingdom of Planet Apes did open higher. I think it's mainly because Kingdom opened before this really shitty streak, and now this like kind of brought us back from it, as well as showing that like a movie star could come back. So, oh, did I say Barry Levinson? I meant Barry Sonnenfeld. Sorry. The other thing with this box office is number 9 and number 8 and number 9 was Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. We are seeing them understand, the Warners understand that Lord of the Rings is still a huge property, and people will still go see it. And the fact that they were 8 and 9 at the box office says a lot, actually. And I do think this encourages them to make, the Hunt for Gollum thing, and make the anime one, and probably make more Lord of the Rings than, I mean, the Hobbit movies made like a ton of money, and nobody even likes those. So it shows that, like, but 8 and 9 were re-releases. Other things, it's like, I don't know what Hakio the Dumpster Battle is, but I see that's doing well. Run Lola Run has 25th anniversary, which did okay. And the last movie was Remembering Gene Wilder, which made $141. So I'm assuming that's about Gene Wilder. It is. The other thing, and I will post this tomorrow. There's a really good podcast by Slash Film interviewing the producer of Tarot, and I've brought this up a few times, but Tarot is sort of the secret hit of this year because they used mainly targeted digital ads, no like TV ads or billboard ads and stuff, and it's made about 45 million worldwide, and it's been sort of a surprise success because of that. It made about 18 here. And the producer did an interview with Slash Film. It's pretty good. I will say he kind of gets into why they realized they couldn't just have an ad during a basketball game and stuff, how this wasn't going to work. The teens aren't watching that stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting. What? Breaking news? What? Has seemingly taking over duties of Pixar's Elio for next year. Didn't that already come out? Isn't that done? Wait, are you sure? Did that really happen? I don't think I can... Wait, really? Hold on. Turning red. Hold on. I'm gonna see. I don't see that. So I'm gonna assume maybe it just broke. Anyway. Let's move on from there. Okay. So, there's keeps being a rumor, but so Jordan Peele, we heard, met with Marvel. People presume either about X-Men or Blade, depends on how you feel about that one. And that he has also met with Paramount about Star Trek, continues to be the rumor. I am a little like, I don't really believe this story. I do think a lot of studios ask him to come in for reboot and sequel and stuff. That I believe. That's going to happen, obviously. But if you're Jordan Peele, you're one of the few named directors who can open a movie and people will see it because it's a Jordan Peele movie. You don't need a franchise. They need you more than you need them. Now, maybe he's looking at, like, I can get a payout now, and how long can I keep my hot streak going? Why don't I just take it while I'm hot, and then I can come back to this horror shit later? But if you have, like, you're like Universal's priority directors, right? You have him and Christopher Nolan. I would kind of just do your own original thing until that runs out. Like, that's like very rarefied air, and I'm sure he knows that. Now, X-Men is a cool idea for him, and the potential that he could do Blade is a great idea too, which people have brought up, or even him doing Star Trek. Those sound like cool movies. But if I'm him, do I want to be stuck like the other people I've talked about, making properties when I can make something new? And Nope was a big hit, so I call shenanigans, I guess, on this. I just don't see it. I don't see why he would want to do it, basically. I just don't get why he would want to do it. Like, why would he want to do it? You know what I mean? So, sorry, this is like a more serious episode, I guess. I plan to be a jokey, but there's like too many like crazy things. It's like, I don't know, the Pixar thing. It isn't a. Did you just send me a Pixar article? Anyway, I can't talk about the. I guess this just came out, but I guess you just sent it. Oh, right during the show or right before the show. Okay, well, I think that'll be happening next week because I can't read this and react to it in a proper time, and we have too many other things. But we'll see. I hope Jordan Peele just gets to be Jordan Peele at this point. That's I think would be a better thing, and it's becoming harder and harder to do those things. And I do think like it would be a disservice to all of us for him to be just doing Star Trek or X-Men or Blade. You know, I mean, I'm sure a Blade movie with him would save that movie, I guess we'll talk about that because I brought it up, is that Blade lost its director, which has had its director since 2019. This director's been there. This is the second director. But yeah, it lost its director, Jan Damage. We'll see what happens with this. It very much feels like Blade is not happening. I do not think Blade will happen at this point, with Mahershala Ali committing to Jurassic World Park, whatever it is, and this director leaving. It just doesn't seem likely that. It feels like the odds are against it at this point. I just don't see that happening. So, I think it's kind of over for that movie, or it gets massively delayed. I think Marvel fucked up. This is like next to the Black Widow movie. You keep losing your chance to the point where when it comes out, nobody gives a shit. And I think that that's what's happening here. I could see it happening, but it's going to be majorly delayed because Mahershala Ali was like, look, I need to make my money. I have my 2 Oscars. I don't need to be doing this dumbass bullshit. So we'll see. All right. So we are now going to sort of this is a quick thing. Paul Giamatti is going to be the villain in a Star Trek show. That sounds awesome. I'm glad he's getting genre stuff. He clearly told his agent, let me do weird genre stuff, and he will be great as the villain in the Star Trek show. I'm there for it. I probably won't watch it, but I'm there for it. All right, we're going to talk about Skydance animation. I know the Paramount deal is done. We'll talk about that. Then the Pixar stuff. This will all be a huge section. I don't want to get people too excited. I might actually get the timestamps done because I cleaned the kitchen before this, and that's usually the thing I have to do after. That makes me too tired to do the timestamps, so we might actually have timestamps this time. I know, but I'm only one person, and I do get sleepy sometimes. So, I know this is going to be a long show, but he's going to be a Bond villain next. Oh, I'd fucking love that. You know what? I've been disappointed that James Bond. I thought when Trump was elected, they were going to get like a Trumpian villain. Never did that. Fucking lame. Come on, get who would you get? I don't know, a big blowhard American? You could just go down the street. They're everywhere. Just I'm there for it. In spirit. That's true. Yeah, just go down the street. Go on 5th Avenue. You just grab a guy. Sorry. But who would you get? Oh, Paul Walter Hauser. Oh my God, as a Bond villain? Bring Daniel Craig back. Whatever. All right. So we learned. Let's get into the Skydance animation stuff. I thought James Wood. People really don't like James Wood. I as an actor, I like him. As a person, never. Mike Myers would be good. Russell Crowe. Yeah, they have to be. I feel like to really get the Trumpisms, to make him like Trumpy from Pod People. No, from shout out anyone in the chat who watch Pod People. They really Kevin James would be good. I'm liking this. Anyway, sorry. I feel like this is a mess of a show very purposely. But whatever. I'm going to add that Pixar thing about Elio to the next one. We'll talk about that later. But that's disappointing. Yeah, that's a movie that got fucked up. But hey, Ratatouille, I guess it worked out. So whatever. Let's get Will Smith as a James Bond villain. See, that would be great, but Will Smith would never do that. That's the thing that sucks about him. But James Woods produced Oppenheimer? What? Okay. So, we learned the Paramount deal. Hey, William Ellman. We learned the Paramount deal didn't happen. Sherry Redstone chose not to do it. And Skydance Entertainment, which didn't work out with it. One of the deals that we know this is true, this has been reported, that they were going to have Skydance Animation and John Lasseter be a major part of Paramount Animation had this deal gone through. If you're like, that fucking sucks, John Lasseter's a creepy dude, how come he gets to have one of the biggest titles in animation in the entire film industry? Yeah, that is bullshit, and I don't like it either, but that's the thing they were doing, and that's why I keep talking about that, because I do think it's insane. That's why I know a lot. I'm not trying to be like, I'm so exclusive, or like, you're all you're all the best for watching. Obviously, you're intelligent people, you're watching me. No, but I do think it is an interesting end to the story of this guy's career, who's, did one of the most historic film history changing films of all time, and then ended his career with Cars 2. No, but then I mean, Cars 2 sucks, but then ended up here. So John Lasseter supposedly has been working from home a lot. His health has become a major factor. There's very few photos, if not any, of him post his cancellation, which is pretty insane. Like, I can't think of him anywhere, honestly. Supposedly it was planned and he had surgery, and it's like people are making too much of it, but it is a major deal, and for him to like just be like MIA is not good. But there are other things with this thing. Is one, WB is majorly considering buying Paramount. Part of it, I've read in a few sources, have been the Lasseter of it all. Which means he could potentially, run WB animation, which doesn't make me feel good at all. So, like, all those projects I announced, I mean, he is better at getting projects through and being an executive and stuff for original projects, I guess. But at the same time, like, I don't want him running all that, but that we'll see. But I know WB was considering buying Paramount with Skydance, but now they're just considering buying Paramount and not dealing with Lasseter. However, what's going on with Skydance is they're having a major problem, like, because Luck was not that big of a deal. They're having most of the streaming services not interested in their works because they're not good. And the one thing that was really being pushed, and why I put it in the thing, was Ray Gun, which is the Brad Bird traditionally animated film. But because Brad Bird doesn't understand how budgets work, I guess, is pitching it at least $150 million, which I think is, you want to. I'm not against traditional animation, but that is like a bulked at figure. I get that he made Incredibles 2 and it made a lot of money despite being not good. And he made the fourth Mission Impossible, and he has genuine classics under his belt that aren't Tomorrowland and Incredibles 2. But $150 million is far too much for traditionally animated film. Like, that's just not going to do well. That's totally egregious, and I don't know why he thought that. I have no fucking clue. That's one of the stupidest. Like, it's like, I get wanting to make Ray Gun, I get making a traditionally animated film, but like, I wouldn't have gone over 80. I don't know what he's planning and what he needs that 150 for, but it just, whatever. But right now it seems like Skydance Animation had the potential to be bigger because of Lasseter. I agree with people that Lasseter did well because of the brain trust. I think the thing with Lasseter, and I don't really want to compliment him, is that he's very good at dealing with all these personalities, getting them to work together. But it's pretty clear everything he thought creatively, if you watch Cars 2, is pretty clear he won't be good at that. So he's not good at creating himself or directing himself. But yes, he had Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton and Lee Ulrich and all those things in his ear. And he doesn't have that now, and it's no question. But Luck was not developed. Luck is like a weird situation. I would like to see something under fully his control, because he was good at those things. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like Skydance Animation. I feel like studios flirt with it because they're like, I mean, look at what Pixar is. But at the same time, it's like, do you want Lasseter running your animations to you? I'm a little surprised, like, they're not like, get Brad Bird and all that stuff. So whatever. We also, so switching over to the Pixar stuff, we learned Andrew Stanton is directing Toy Story 5. Not a bad, oh, thank you, Ranger of the East. Not a bad idea. Andrew Stanton's a good director. Okay. He is a good director to a degree. Finding Dory is fucking garbage. Like, a real bad movie. Like, some of the Pixar sequels, not good. And like the fact that I don't know. But he has directed Stranger Things a lot. He has shown himself as a better director, despite that, like, I guess his last two features I didn't like, right? Is it John Carter and Finding Dory? Oh, God. That is not bad. Not good. Like, just anyway. But I I guess I'm optimistic. I don't know. I don't. Maybe I shouldn't be. Man, Finding Dory and John Carter, not good movies. I'm sorry. I'm not. Whatever. But I do think he did do a good job on Stranger Things. Maybe he is a good at being a studio director, a TV director. Let's hope for the best on that. But I actually think it's a decent choice. Pete Docter did clear up stuff that he was more talking about, like developing stuff, and I think trying to keep the suits happy. But he wants to do original stuff. Although hearing that Turning Red news, which I haven't looked at, with Elio, doesn't make me feel good whatsoever. And he did clarify, and I like this: no live action remakes of Pixar movies. So this whole idea that when is Pixar next, we don't have to worry about that anymore. It's not going to happen, or at least from him. I am still like, yeah, but you kind of not announced anything majorly that's original, and betting on Inside Out 2 and Toy Story 5 does not make me feel great, because as much as he's like, we're original, he's made virtually no moves to do that. Like I've said before on all these things. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it feels like they're all repeating themselves, and how am I supposed to react to it other than the fuck this, basically. But like, just announce these original things, do something very different, and I will believe you. But if you're buying all this leverage, and I understand they're not in a great thing, I don't know. Anyway, in great remake news, we learned a Lilo and Stitch is expected to be released this year. Don't see that happening. Not because I don't want a Lilo and Stitch remake to exist, but because there just isn't, with Moana 2 and Wicked and everything else, I just don't see it fitting in with. I don't see that being a good move whatsoever. So I'm calling nonsense on that. We have the Moana live action cast announced. Good for them. The Rock is making a ton of money on both of them, so neato. In trailers, I forgot to watch the Maxine trailer again. I'm sure it's great, but it's actually not a bit. I was like gonna watch it, and I didn't. And I was like before the show, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna commit to continuing to forget it. I am gonna review Pearl, by the way, before Maxine comes out. I do plan to review Maxine, but I keep forgetting to watch this trailer. So not a joke. All right. We got the Paddington 3 or Paddington in Peru. Paddington Goes to Peru came out today. It looks fun. It looks like a fun movie. I didn't love that. Sally Hawkins isn't in it, but I had processed that before. It looks like a fun Paddington movie. It doesn't look maybe as good as the other two, but I'm open to it. It looks like it's got at least enough fun things, like this thing with the photo and stuff like that. I'm okay with this franchise continuing, but Paddington Goes Away. But I don't know. I'm sort of like, okay, it'll be fun to watch and stuff. But I'm open to it. But I agree with everyone else. Sally Hawkins should be in this. I don't know. I'm curious why that didn't work out. So we'll see. We got the Lego Pharrell biopic. I look, it's a biopic that's actually has an interesting take, which is by Lego, so I'll give it that. I do like. Here's my thing with Pharrell is I like when he was weirder and he'd weird, like interesting music. Like his happy stuff is not good. Like I don't like that. His like kind of Motowny shit is bad. But when he was in the Neptunes, he did like the Snoop Dogg stuff or the Clips, Hell Hath No Fury, which is a great album, and that stuff. I like that stuff a lot. But even he is like. But he, he's done some Run the Jewels stuff recently. He isn't as boring as I think people believe he is, but he doesn't do himself any favors. I hope he does some interesting stuff like this. I noticed Khalees was not in this trailer. Wonder why that is. You can look that up. But I am curious what this movie's going to be. It looks like a fun take on a biopic. I hope it does his legacy correct. And it acknowledges the Virginia Beach stuff and all that. I think could be Really interesting, but I like seeing like, Kendrick Lamar, who everyone forgets All Right is a Neptunes produced song. Uh, but we'll see. I think it'll be interesting. But I think it's the first Universal thing they've done with the Lego stuff. Am I wrong about that? I think so. So I agree with Ryan. Yes, Pharrell is Illumination. What Randy Newman is to Pixar, but I wouldn't say that's. I think Randy Newman made better material for Pixar than Pharrell made material for Illumination. I think all of his Illumination stuff is kind of his lesser shit. So we are running long. I expected this, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up a little bit. And we got the wild man. Okay, there are a few things I don't want to go through them. So sorry. We got a new Wild Robot trailer. It looks really cool. I'm excited for that movie. It looks like I will give DreamWorks this. I do think they're a lot more interesting of a studio than we give them credit for. They're a fuck lot more interesting than Pixar. I think Nasana Foga asked me that last week or something. I totally like between Wild Robot and Ruby Gillman and even Trolls and what's his name in the dark, like some interesting stuff. So I do think we're getting some different things here. Okay. What do we have left? Okay. We have a few things, and then I will take a break. We're getting towards the end of this, so if anyone has any super chats they want to get in, now I guess is the time. I could use some energy. I don't want to be like that. He's that Spider-Man guy, and he goes, pay for a hop dimension, but I just look sleepy. Should I like hop in and pretend I'm Miles Morales or something? No, I should not pretend I'm Miles Morales. That would be... We're going to move on. Never mind. I wish I had said that. So, Netflix. I could be Peter B. Parker. I could be him. Except for the beard. He doesn't have a cool beard like me. All right. Sorry. Power Rangers. We learned there was going to be a Power Rangers show on Netflix, but it got canceled. They decided not to do it. And the guy who's doing it is now working on Karate Kid. What the guy on TikTok with he does the Miles Morales thing? I don't watch him, but I've heard about him. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever. He like jumps in. I've never really watched him. I just heard people go like, "Oh, you're so lucky." It's like one of those things like, I have to go to my job and kid make $4,000 from playing with toys. Me understand the YouTube. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna take an energy drink to wake myself up because I'm saying weird stuff. It is a TikTok. No one's heard of this guy? Alright. Maybe it's not the children wrong. Maybe I'm hip on the TikToks. Not really. I don't know anything about TikTok. Alright. So, I'm making cornbread field. So Power Rangers, the Power Rangers show on Netflix has been canceled. I think it's probably not just because of Netflix losing interest, but I also think is because the guy who was supposed to work on it, which is Jonathan Entwistle, is he related to the guy from The Who? Anyway, maybe he's also working on Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid movie. So I kind of get the vibe maybe he was just too busy and Netflix is like, let's just like cut our losses. This is never happening. I do think it is kind of depressing because, they probably could have done something interesting. I also think Power Rangers sort of gets overdone a bit. It doesn't get any time to really take a break, and it might be good for the property to have a break, to be honest with you. But it is, it did break out fairly majorly, and I do think that reunion thing sort of helped, but we'll see if anything happened with that. Alright, the other thing, we learned that the Sandy Cheeks movie is going to Netflix on August 2nd, which is my birthday, so cool. I'm not really that interested in the SpongeBob spinoffs. I'd much rather just watch SpongeBob, so... we also learned Kate Winslet is going to reunite with Todd Haynes on an upcoming HBO limited series Trust. Todd Haynes is awesome. Obviously, he did May December, which I shot a review for, and maybe one day I'll edit. It's a story told from multiple compelling perspectives. A 1920s Wall Street tycoon amasses a sudden fortune, but loses a beloved wife. Decades later, his attempts to control the narrative of his life are undone by a biographer who uncovers the ultimate secrets of the legendary marriage. Sounds similar to the idea of perception with May December. So, sounds really cool. I don't know. That sounded interesting to me. I wanted to talk about it. The other thing, and people were bringing this up, is the movie Air was airing on ABC last night. Because that is an Amazon movie, or mostly a streaming movie, even though it did open in theaters, by the way, it is kind of interesting to see a movie that is made by a streamer, at least, airing on national TV. A lot of people are bringing up that this is sort of the beginning of a trend that we saw today. I know a movie airing on TV probably means like jack shit to everyone younger who's watching this, but it used to be a major deal when movies would do that. And the idea that a streaming movie could do that, I think, says that. It also means when you air on like 8 o'clock on an ABC, that's probably you're making more than if you were being on an FX or an HBO or something. So it's probably like the biggest TV deal you can get. Now, that doesn't mean as much as it used to, obviously, but it is sort of a big deal. So we'll see what this is much like the Alamo thing. This is obviously not as big of a deal. This is kind of a way we'll see, like, because this isn't like ABC airing a Disney Plus movie. This is ABC airing an Amazon movie. So we'll see what happens. But the good thing is the way Matt Damon and Ben Affleck set up that company, all the people who worked on it, who got a percentage of that movie, got an extra check, like people who are doing the lighting and the cinematography, and not just them. The way that company works, everyone who works on it gets a tiny piece of that movie. So everyone who worked crew and stuff is made just like a big chunk from an ABC deal. So that's actually really cool for them. But seeing that streaming movie is interesting how that all worked out. So anyway, okay. Nobody knows the. Okay, I wasn't trying to be a zoomer. I was just whatever. Apologies. Just sort of e-banking. Sorry. Anyway, and I wanted to make fun of the Miles Morales kid. Nobody knows who he is. All right. So on Sunday there was the 90th birthday of Donald Duck. We got Disney legend animator Mark Henn wrote and directed Donald Duck and DIY Duck, which was a 2D animated short. To be honest, it was like okay. It wasn't very long. That's fine. This is his last project before he retired in December 2023. It seemed like his last project. But whatever. I was actually going to make a short, but we had like a lot going on that day for Donald Duck's 90th. And it was going to be like, since I didn't do it, I'll just tell you, I guess, because there's no reason to. I didn't go. I was going to be like, today is Donald Duck's, since today is Donald Duck's birthday, I wanted to say happy 95 years to Mickey Mouse. But I ran out of, anyway. I thought Donald Duck would love it. He would go quack, quack, quack. I can't do a Donald Duck, but it was, DIY Duck was fine. It's just like doesn't live up to the Paul Radish stuff, you know? It just like doesn't, it's just like whatever. All right. The last thing is we learned since Lola Run got a re-release, we did learn that the actress Franca Potente, I guess, said she was actually smoking cigarettes the whole time. And she was wearing Doc Martens, which she is in the movie, so that I did know. But that she was off camera smoking tons of cigarettes I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I mean, you know, she was younger then. Run Lola Run's another great movie. If you're into filmmaking, it was what people were really into when I took my first film course, so in high school. All right, we actually got through all the news, guys, and it's midnight. You know what? We might not run. Is it Paul Radish? Paul Rudish? Paul something. Leave me alone. I don't know. Okay, sorry. It has been a long day, and I am starting to feel it. All right. So in obits, I don't now. I like to be honest about the obituaries. Is that comic historian passed away this past week. I'm not very familiar with him. I know people knew him, but I thought it was sad. It's always sad to see someone go from each. I was aware of him, I guess, but I wanted to say an RIP, and let's just raise a glass to him. Cheers to him. Um, I didn't talk about Spaceballs 2 because Josh Gad reboot announcement don't often work out, and there's just too many things. I didn't talk about Blair Witch because I just didn't have enough time to really read that article. So I will talk about that next time. But I will talk about the Blair Witch thing next time, definitely. I want to actually read through that. But reading some parts of it was interesting. Anyway, here's what we're going to do, people. I didn't announce the segments before, which was stupid of me. So I'll tell you them again. They were on Twitter, at least. One is Riley's First Date. Obviously, that makes sense. Inside Out 2 is coming out, and the other is Party Central, to explain the Party Central thing. The director of Party Central is directing Inside Out 2, so that's why I'm doing both. I think that'll be quick. Then we'll do questions. There's a potential we could end on time, believe it or not. So maybe I should have talked about something funnier. Is there something funnier? I guess the hot dog guy. Remember the hot dog guy? Why is Joey Chestnut? Okay. I feel like I shouldn't just force things. I should just talk how I'm going to talk about stuff, and that's better. I do want to watch some comics historian. I guess he's good. Is he like something you guys like? I'm just actually curious about this. I'm not trying to shit on him that he's dead. Do you guys like his videos? How about this? If you're on the Discord, maybe is this okay to everyone on the Discord? Could someone double toasted reviewing Cool World? I feel like someone else might be reviewing Cool World soon too. Oh well, good night, Ryan. Nice to see you here. But yeah, tell me what is a video from Comics Historian that you guys like. Please post that on the Discord. I'd be curious. I'll check them out later. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to talk about. I'm going to take a break, use the bathroom. We're going to. Yeah. Then we'll talk about Riley's First Date and Party Central. They're pretty quick, so maybe. Was that Don Bluth? What? Anyway, what? No, wait, Bakshi. No, Bakshi did Cool World. I reviewed Cool World, but it was a while ago. Anyway, because there was a time when, believe it or not, do people know about this? I don't know if they do. Ralph Bakshi was going to be on Pizza Party, and so I was watching his movies to prepare for it, and then he backed out at the last minute. And he was almost on Pizza Party. I'd met him once, but yeah, Ralph Bakshi was going to be on Pizza Party. And it just didn't. He pulled out, basically. They were like, we're not going to do it. Never mind. But we were all excited. We were like actually working on it. I was like watching stuff. It was like right before MomoCon. But yeah. I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like such a good podcast. Like us and Ralph Bakshi, that would have been amazing. But, oh well. Okay, sometimes I'm like, did this come out? I didn't work on Jimmy. Sometimes I'm like, wait, do people know about that? So, you met Don Bluth, Jan Fogo? What's the deal with the new Adventure Time? Whoa. Anyway, alright, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm going to gather my thoughts. I feel like I'm loosey-goosey and silly. And I will be right back in a little bit. I will see you again shortly. Enjoy this Ace the Wind Rider picture right now. I'll be right back in a couple minutes. Hello, I am back. How's everyone doing? I hope good. Hope everyone's still here. Wait, am I? Yes. What's going on? I think I talked about the Adventure Time thing. Good enough. Anyway, it is wild that they're developing so much preschool stuff with the properties, but that is, again, I've talked about before with Cartoon Network. That's something that they have long. If you're a kids network, you sort of have to do that. So, that is a thing that's been a major complaint against that network for a long time, that they don't have enough little kid stuff. But I kind of think they need to not emphasize it, because my son watches like the Transformers, so it's like the Generation 1, we've been watching that. So it's kind of like you don't need to do it so much. I don't know. To me, it's like, please stop. Like, it always fails. It's just like, whatever. Anyway, just 2 Adult Swim babies already. Tales of the TMNT, I am excited for. I think that's going to be cool. I do think Viacom, if Tales of TMNT hits, is good. I will say the Beavis and Butthead reboot I really do like, and I think is very good. I will probably do a reaction thing when that comes back. I don't think it's back yet. Isn't that in July? I really do like that show. It's a really good stress reliever if you need one. But we'll see. Anyway, so let's do the 2 segments. Then you do questions. If you want to do a super chat for now in the next half hour, this is your last chance if you would like to. But just being here, thank you guys for being here. Sorry to be a little pathetic or anything. Why is my Audacity? Okay, sorry. For some reason, Audacity sometimes is like, I'm open. No, I'm not. I'm like, fuck off, Audacity. Good night, Ramsey the artist. All right. Sorry if this is a long one. That's why I'm actually in the kitchen, because I expected it to be, and this is the best place for it. All right. Rise of the TMNT ruled, though. I really love that show. That was such a great show. But I think with sometimes with Ninja Turtles, you sort of got to move on and be like, hey, there's the next one. Jax Play did a great video about it. It's like, if you really go through it, which he did very well, and I think he explained literally everything, that there isn't a de facto best one. They all have their each qualities. And I think he did a great job. I was like, damn, this dude did like a law deposition on how you should respect all of the TMNT versions. I was like, this is nuts. He went crazy on that. Anyway, good video though. All right, so let's talk about Riley's first date. This is kind of until the recent Inside Out 2, which I have not seen when I'm making this. Let's say that. That is true. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur does not get enough respect. Thank you, Taco Master. Anyway, sorry. I've not seen Inside Out 2, so I don't know if this, fits into Inside Out 2 in any way. However, this is kind of the only real follow-up since then. It was directed by Josh Cooley, who would go on to direct Toy Story 4, and obviously is directing a Transformers movie later this year, actually. This was released on the DVD and Blu-ray as an extra, and then become sorry. Wait, where was I going? Okay, let's start over. Sorry. Oh, sorry. It was on DVD and then eventually went to Disney Plus and stuff like that. It was sort of an extra sort of thing. It never played in theaters, unlike the following short. However, this is different in that it starts like a guy comes over and her parents react to it as a date. It's sort of like not clear if it is, and the whole thing isn't from Riley's perspective, despite that it is her titular first date or whatever. There's the element of this that I don't like is that it's from the heads of the emotions of her mom and dad, and they feel sort of off in this. But I think it comes from a place of real relatability, which I think speaks to why Josh Cooley is a good director. Like, he understands, like, well, I have to make some sort of a point with this, some sort of a personal point with it. And I actually think he does. But the problem with it is Inside Out works because we see Riley's perspective. I'm not watching Inside Out to see your stupid parents' perspective. Like, I don't care. I know everyone brings up that, like, anger is piloting the dad. And I think, isn't sadness piloting the mom or something? Like, that is depressing when you really think about it. But I don't really love their perspectives necessarily, because it's like, oh, this boy and I hate this guy and stuff like that. I don't like the whole, like, let's hate the son-in-law and stuff like that. I think that's kind of, it's a little pathetic, you know. It's like I just don't really love it. But I think Josh Cooley, when I was reading about this, like, the whole idea is her date comes over to pick her up. Her parents are freaking out in their heads and stuff, and her dad sits down with the boy, and the mom goes up to see Riley. And when the boy's there, I forget his name, like Jordan or something. Anyway, and this does have all the original voices, by the way. But the Josh Cooley start off is that when he first met his father-in-law, he was obviously standoffish, and father-in-laws are usually scary. I have a cool father-in-law. I will answer Zane Powers at the end. That is a good question. Now I'm thinking about that. God damn it. But that's like I want to give me a second for that one. Sorry. But he talks about this anecdote where he was standoffish until Josh Cooley told his father-in-law he was in a band, and they both started to connect as father-in-law and son-in-law over their love of this. And he actually really thought about, like, what band unites everyone. And he was talking about how he went to an AC/DC show, and there were 7-year-olds, and there were grandparents behind him, and how, like, it wasn't just, like, I think oftentimes when AC/DC's in a movie, it's, like, default band. And he was like, no, I want AC/DC because I went to a show, and it unites generations, and it would make sense if you have, this guy who's a teenager and this guy in his 40s, that they would both like AC/DC. Now, I do actually think, like, I don't know, I think sometimes, like, boomers and young people are like, oh, kids like my music, and it's like, they don't, but, like, whatever. But I do think that is a real moment of relatability in it. However, I think this is a dorky little dumb short. I think it sort of betrays the property because it should be shown from Riley's perspective. It shouldn't be from her parents. I don't think it has enough of a reason to switch perspectives in this. I sort of don't think it works. It feels like an unnatural progression of the story and not a natural one. And especially that we don't really know, like, we sort of think she likes him, but it's, like, not a date. And, like, stuff like it feels like it's the parents will tell their friends that it was the first date, but it wasn't. But I'm like, I don't watch Inside Out to hear them. So, anyway. All right, Zane Powers. What do we have? It's like disgust, anger, joy, sadness. What am I forgetting? Disgust, anger, joy, sadness, and Bill Hader. I think it would be joy or sadness. I don't think it would be anger for me. I think it would be joy or sadness. Maybe Bill Hader when I was younger. Is fear? Yeah, definitely was younger. I was scared of a lot of stuff. But not anger or disgust. I think maybe certain ones during certain eras of my life, it would have been those three. But I do think, should have been special. I do think it would have been. I think it would have been joy. I try to be. I don't know. I would like, but I think it would be joy or sadness. Where's horny? I mean, I guess that would be okay. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. That was a good question, Save Powers. Thank you. All right. First off, cheers to you again. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about Party Central. Centrifuge. I like that. All right. Party Central, which is the kind of theatrical short follow-up to Monsters University. The reason I'm talking about this tonight is because it's directed by the person who directed Inside Out 2. I actually considered doing one or the other, but I thought maybe it'd be cool to do both because one is an Inside Out short and one is the only other Pixar thing that Kelsey Mann had directed, and I thought, why not do that? So this was actually released before Muppets Most Wanted, which also had its 10th anniversary this year. So this is having its 10th anniversary this year, and it is the first Disney short to be rated higher than G since Roller Coaster Rabbit. If you remember when I did the Roger Rabbit shorts, I think I did all of them, didn't I? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure I did all of them. But anyway, this is a cool idea. It's a simple cartoon idea. It's nothing more than that, honestly. But it's a cool idea, which is they use the door things to basically, from their smaller fraternity, steal another fraternity's party through having the doors on either side of this couple sleeping. It's pretty innocuous, to be honest with you. But I think sometimes some cartoons, much like Coyote and Roadrunner, it's like, let's just do a simple idea like this. And it really works. It 100% works. It's a fun concept. At one point, they're like, let's get this guy. Let's get the pizzas. Where are the girls? Let's get the girls. And they go through the thing. And then the people who are between the doors react. They're like, honey, I heard the door slam. I heard this. It's a totally perfectly good concept. The door jamming thing at the end is awesome. They do a lot of cool stuff with this premise. Do I think this adds anything? Not really. Not nothing. But does it fit into Monsters University? Absolutely. It feels like a natural extension of it. So, if you like Monsters University, you have to see Party Central. I think it does a great job. It doesn't add anything, but it doesn't hurt it. It's not a betrayal of it. It's not like, let's do something that's different or mess with it. It just feels like you could just add it on to the movie or something. And I thought that was actually fucking cool, to be honest with you. I thought this was, you very rarely see short follow-ups that just feels like exactly the vibe of the movie as this quick, fun little thing, and then you get back to your film-going experience or something. Totally fine. I thought it was an inventive concept. It's a cool idea of, let's steal a party. I've never heard of that before, but it's a fun visual thing you can do with animation. They kept coming up with new and different things. It felt like how they did old animated cartoons. Honestly, you had the whole crew there and who has ideas, and each person came up with one. I don't know if they did that, but each person came up with one and did it. It was a fun little short. If you like Monster University, it's a great little thing to watch. It's nothing more than that, except it does have a cool concept, and I think it did a lot with the premise it had. It actually makes me feel good about Kelsey Mann as a director before I see Inside Out 2, because it takes a good director to make something this breezy and seamless and visually compact as it is. So I actually, if I saw someone like that, it takes a lot of skill to make something like this. And I thought it was a decent short. So if you haven't seen Party Central, I'd say, check it out if you like that sort of thing. And even if you don't, I think you'll have a good enough time. You're like, oh, that was fun. And I think that's all they're trying to do, and that's all it did, and then the party's over. All right. Sorry. Party Central, it's hard to review that one because you're like, stuff happened. All right, I do have a bunch of Patreon questions, so I'm going to write questions below. And after that, I'll get to those after the Patreon questions, which are always first if you're a patron. Fuck St. Patrick's, Jesus. All right. Nathaniel Foga asks, what's another big movie franchise you'd like to see get an anime adaptation? I'm assuming because you're talking about Lord of the Rings there. Bad Boys. No, the manga of Star Wars, of the original trilogy, is legitimately great. If they did something in that style, I would be down for it. Creed, because Michael B's involved, I'm sure he would be down for that. John Wick. I think that's. I'm just gonna go with those. Sorry, I think that one. Jordan Bouchard. Oh, Nanbox. That's a good one. Okay, sorry. Jordan Bouchard. What do you remember people your age at the time and yourself thinking of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when the show and film premiered? When the show premiered, everyone lost their fucking minds. That was an event. People still talk about it. How excited they were when it first aired. It was really cool. I think by the time the movie premiered, people, if it was not cool to like it at a certain point. In fact, I think I liked it, but a lot of kids I knew didn't. And I think maybe I've told this story, but my sister and I were both into it, and me, my sister, and my brother would basically karate chop each other when we watched not just Power Rangers, but every there were so many rip-off shows that and we watched all of them. I think there was one on USA, all of them, and then we'd fight each other as the various things and all this stuff. But yeah, we sent in these postcards, and to win this contest, and we won. We got VHSs of Power Rangers, and I remember I had a friend over. This sucks. And he thought Power Rangers was lame. And because I went to comic book stores, most of the grown-ups I knew thought Power Rangers was lame. And I would be like, yeah, it totally is. And I would just pretend because I was 8. And then my mom was like, look, you got your Power Rangers tape in front of this kid. And I was like, well, I was just doing it because my sister's, she's into it. And it was just funny because we're gonna make fun of it. Anyway, let's just not, I don't want to talk about it anymore. This is not... I had to be embarrassed of this thing. I always wanted to win a contest, and it felt like I got sort of robbed of that to be cool. And that person turned out to actually really suck as a person entirely. So basically what I learned from that experience is don't be ashamed of what you like, because you might be trying to impress someone who is generally horrible. So it... to be totally honest, sorry, that was way too real. I remember that. Anyway, winning that contest. But we watched that VHS till it broke. So, I mean, my sister and I really liked that. It was cool. It's the only contest I think I won, right? I think so. Anyway, sorry if I went on too long about that. But yeah, the movie was it was very much passé by that point. Although I saw the movie, I've never seen the second one though. Sinram. I always got to save Austin for last. Sorry, Austin. But it works so well as the last question. I can't not. Sinram S. I've been sick for the last couple of days, so I'm not sure I can watch the show live. That's fine, man. We'll see. In any case, how do you favor the Sundberg Oceans movies? Oh, good night, Austin. Thank you for the super chat. Hold on. I'll cheers to Austin. Cheers to you. Always first except mine. Good night. Cheers to you. Thank you for me. I like all the emojis. You're so good at ending it. That's why. You're really good at it. I mean it as a compliment. Anyway, cheers to you, sir. To be totally honest, I do need to rewatch those because I was never as super into them as everyone else. I always go first, and I don't even know if I've seen the third one, so I'm sorry, Syndrome. This is not going to be a great answer. I would probably go first and then second. And I don't know if I can't remember. Oh, I have seen this. Yeah, I kind of just descending order, to be honest. But maybe that's kind of a cinematic blind spot. Of all the Sundbergs I haven't watched those much. Austin S. Hey, Jim, what a radical and extreme show you gave us tonight. I mean, I guess in a way. I may not be here for when you are reading this question. Is he here? I wonder if he is. That I'm posting on your Patreon due to having to wake up early for work tomorrow. Oh, man, I'm sorry if I'm messing that up. My question is, been watching a lot of YouTubers talk about a lot of trash TV shows, mainly Bar Rescue and Deadliest Warriors. Any trash TV you used to watch to relax or turn your brain off or just laugh at? I would say so before TV went to the digital signal in America, every place I worked just had trash TV on, so I knew all Jerry Springer, all that stuff constantly, and I used to like Jerry Springer. I used to like Judge Alex, Judge Christina, all that stuff, and now it's I never get to see any of it. So I'd say those. I was into Jerry Springer during like the huge rise, so that would probably be part of it. So I'd say those. I mean, I guess still watch Unsolved Mysteries, and that depends on how you feel if that's trash TV. So, all right. Zane Powers asks, if someone doesn't like to talk politics publicly, are they complicit bystanders? Who should be judged harshly for their apoliticalness, the same as if they were endorsing evil? Nice. Wow. Sure, why not? I liked Farty Central. Thank you, a generous lover. That's a good name, by the way. Nonbox64. What type of zine would you ever want to make? I was sort of a part of a zine when I ran my college radio station that was designed by the guy Mike Kroll, who's now a indie guy, but he still is a graphic designer, and he did a great job. So something like that. If you have a good graphic designer making a zine, that's what I would like to do. But you have to get a graphic designer. So. William Ellman, with his 9th studio film coming out this month, what is your favorite Yorgos Lanthimos joint? I have not seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, and I think one of his weirder ones. I think I've seen everything else. I had mixed feelings about whatever that last one was with Emma Stone, Poor Things. I didn't review it. I probably should have, or shot something. I did see it. I didn't, because I was like, I kind of just go back to Dogtooth. The favorite I probably enjoyed more than Dogtooth, but I kind of just default to Dogtooth. So I'm going to say Dogtooth on that one, William. Well, sorry. Zane Powers, what do you think of movie theater? Oh, what did you think of the movie theater video Red Letter Media did? Yeah, I watched it because originally I was going to do a segment on it, but I ran out of time. I think it was good. I think they fudged some facts. Like the thing about Gone with the Wind, that when they adjust for inflation, I can't confirm this, but the reason Gone with the Wind became the highest grossing movie ever on its release, but it's also been re-released a bunch of times, and usually they inflate it based on 39 inflation, not on all the so it might not actually be as high, but whatever. But they say some things that are like kind of generalizations, which I wish they wouldn't. I pretty much agree with them, especially like lowering the cost of tickets and stuff like that. But I thought it was good. Generally, I thought it was good. I have like minor complaints, but I thought it was good. Javier Bartello, do you think that Gremlins 3 is a possibility if Beetlejuice 2 is successful? Yeah, I do actually. That makes good sense. Downbox64, what do you enjoy the most when making reviews? I'd say filming it, but I also enjoy, one thing I think about a lot is I saw this movie, I got to talk about my thoughts for this movie, and then those thoughts get to live on, basically. And like some of these movies, like I don't even remember them, like I barely remember them, but I get to encapsulate my thoughts and put it out into the world, and those thoughts get to like sort of, maybe this is cheesy, sort of like live on, and it makes me feel better that I have this thing that I have sort of ownership of and get to ownership of my thoughts in that way. And I actually really like that. It's like if I was just like, doodling or doing something else, there's just whatever, 10, 20 years, so I've been doing this since 2009. And now those things, you get to laugh at one of my dumb jokes 20 years later. And that's honestly one thing that I like about reviews, and one thing that I like about everything is like, everyone has all these thoughts, and I don't know if I have the greatest thoughts of all time, but it makes me feel a little better that my strange, dumb thoughts get to live on a little bit and maybe help someone get through the day, or just agree with, or be like, that guy sucks, or any sort of reaction. It does make me feel a little more, maybe a little warranted or something. I don't know. Not necessarily ego-driven, but it makes me feel a little better about like sharing my experience in such a way as a person. I feel that's probably one of the things I enjoy the most, is like sharing my own experience, because I feel like as people, we're so internal, and being able to, and I'm fairly not very external, I'm internal, and having that, being able to share it in my own way is something I enjoy the most, I guess. But also the shooting, I like all of it. I like editing. Anyway, sorry. Nathaniel Foga, do your kids have fun with the Garfield movie? Yes, they did. They liked it. Oscar was laughing, so worked out well. Al Vasquez, if you had to choose which revival you would keep, regular show or Adventure Time? Regular show, because Adventure Time always comes back. It's like there's enough of that, so regular show. Black Sox and Winkle, Who would you want to voice your internal inside style emotions? I'm just going to say 5 people. You can figure out which ones. How about that? Trace Beaulieu, Kevin Murphy, Mark Hamill. If we can do dead people, Kevin Conroy. I don't know why Kevin Conroy. And, I'm sure Peter Cullen would do it. Maybe? No, maybe Jaleel White. I'll put Jaleel White in there. Why not? Did Tony LeBlanco... Did you know Tony LeBlanco died today? I did hear that. I don't know him super well. Or maybe I do? I'm not sure. Sam Powers' thoughts on Dick Van Dyke's Emmy win and the fact that every non-cinephile person I know either said, wait, he's alive, or wait, that's his name. I mean, also, I don't think the Dick Van Dyke Show we hear about as much, unfortunately. Even though it's a great show. Check it out, the Dick Van Dyke Show. Should I recreate Dunkashino? You should, and film it. Let me see it. Anyway, enjoy being a baker. I hope it works out. What's the rarest item you own, Nathaniel Foga? I guess these things, these are pretty rare, right? There's only so many of those. And a complete set. Cornbread, so you like this past Oscar season, you had a big deal about Jared Hess, Napoleon Diamond, making an animated short. Did you even realize he released a full animated film last month? I did. I honestly just didn't see it because I have so many reviews I need to get to and stuff like that. I just didn't. If my kids wanted to watch it, I would, but I didn't. So, Austin, I did win at Mario Kart. Congratulations. Bloxy Oxencool, what kind of cartoon would you work best for Kevin James? I bet he would do a good Yogi Bear, maybe. Thank you, Zadra, for backing me up, by the way. Nathaniel Foga, favorite marketing campaign for a movie? Aqua Teen Hunger Force. There we go. Sorry. Was one of the reasons the Academy pushed so hard against Will Smith was because he disgraced the Hollywood institution itself by making seeing the Oscars like an ego thing? I think that bugged a lot of people. Zane Powers, have you ever had a friend you really liked and then realized they were a bad friend or a bad person? Unfortunately, too many times. Not plausible. Do you have a favorite discounted snack or candy? I've been getting these chocolate chip cookies for like $2, and there's a bunch of them, and I fucking like them. I don't give a shit. I'm noticing there's a lot more good cheap snacks than people want to admit. I think this world is too much against cheap snacks. We need to reinvent. Anyway, Cornbread, do you feel the slightest bit complicit in participating in there being no new cartoons and them only rehashing and reboot old shows when you only focus on reboots and not the originals? Yes, I actually do find myself complicit in that, and I've called out the cartoon community a few times. Like, we don't even talk about some of these things. I try to do different things. There's only so much time I have and can do in a week, and I think that's true of everyone, but we try our best. But I agree, because you get more clicks if I talk about regular show than I talk about the shows that were announced today. So yes, there is a fucked up thing. But I would also say, like, if you are the viewer, but if I'm a viewer, I'm going to click on the thing that says regular show news. So it's sort of like you have to find a balance, and I hope I do sometimes. Question, Jim, give me your detailed and impressive opinions on all the internal election news now. Or international election news. I don't know. Nathaniel Fair, favorite discounted TV channel? Maybe, what was it? Trio? Maybe Trio TV. I used to do Brilliant but canceled. That was cool. Zane Powers, thoughts on Shia LaBeouf's Do It speech? My friend in high school thought it was legitimately good speech. I don't think it was a good speech, but anything that motivates you to do stuff, I think, is good to a certain sense. When are we getting to the fireworks factory? We're going to the box factory. Al Vasquez, thoughts on Foster's? Some people are turning on it because of how Flanderized Blue became in the show. Honest thoughts. I was never as into Foster's, but I don't love the reboot. I'm not in love with it. I think it could. I want to see it first, but it's just not super into it. Zane Powers, to complete your initiation as a gamer, can you go into Times Square and shout "Free Stellar Blade" as loud as you can, and if someone gets mad, yell back and be aggressive? I don't know what that means. Zane Powers, is getting a college degree in the arts about as useful as a paperweight? I mean, kind of. Cornbread, you ever have battery acid spaghetti? Rhetorical question, of course. You haven't. Actual question, would ye? No. What? I don't... Okay. Panavision, have you ever seen or do you have any thoughts on the Adventures of Mr. Incredible Short with commentary from... Oh, I love that, the Adventures of Mr. Incredible Short. I used to watch that on the DVD so many times. I guess if there's another Incredibles, I'll probably... Is that on Disney Plus? I don't even know, but man, that was a great DVD, that Incredibles DVD. Cornbread, is the reason why Furiosa bombing because it didn't feature the iconic Australian superstar that's right behind you right there? Oh, I see what you did there. Okay, yes, it is. Question, when will you label every video you made from before a few years ago as old? I like that. Nathaniel Foga, favorite pizza place? There was a pizza place. Man, there's a pizza place that's gone now that I used to live. Now it's just like pizza places around me, I guess. Any Father's Day plans for Mandela Butterfly? I think we're seeing Inside Out 2, and I requested to sleep in. Zane Powers, gun to your head. Someone told you had to come up with a reboot of Cletus Fetus. Would you do it, or do a George Miller with Happy Feet 3 and say just to pull the trigger? I wouldn't mind doing it if, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Thoughts on LionelLovesMovies.com? I have no clue what that is, so I have no thoughts. Anyway, all right, that was an epic show. I think it is time to leave, and I'm going to do my timestamps and sit on a couch. This chair is uncomfortable. I guess we didn't go that much over, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed tonight. Sorry if it was so much a downer and stuff. We'll work on next week. We'll talk about how the people who are in Blair Witch are really poor and are trying to fight to get money. Entertainment news is fun. Anyway, hopefully better news. X-Men 97 Season 1 is most likely tomorrow. Thank you all for liking the compilation thing and the re-release stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed all this stuff. Sorry if it was serious, but hey, they can all... I feel like the Alamo thing warranted that and all the news. It was kind of... But let's hope... Maybe it'll be a Tom Cruise Goes to Space story. That would be cool. Remember that? Anyway, gonna head in early too for my birth. Oh, happy birthday, Greenwing Spino. Happy birthday, Greenwing Spino. Sorry. All right, go to bed. Go to bed. Everybody go to bed. Good night. Thank you very much. I will see you all next. I think next week it might be on a Thursday, but we'll see. I'll let you know. Follow me on all the things for updates, but there will be a video most likely tomorrow. Thank you very much, Breaky. Wait, no, hold on. Wait. I want to thank everyone. Thank you to Austin, Zane Powers, Nathaniel Foga, Blockswinkle, and Sinram for the super chats. Thank you everyone for being here. Happy birthday, Greenwing Sparrow, Spino. I need to get out of here. Good night. Have a good time. I'll see you next time. All right. Peace.